Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a special virtual job fair we have for you today. I'm Dave Shadkowski from the Indiana Department of Workforce Development, and we're pleased to be partnering with a fellow agency of ours, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, today on a virtual job fair to talk about a lot of great opportunities that they have available throughout the state. Before we get started, just have a few housekeeping items to make you aware of. First of all, there should be two different options for audio. You'll see in your control box in the upper right. There's phone audio and also computer audio. Both should work fine. Sometimes phone is a little bit more reliable, so if you do notice any issue with audio and you're on computer, you might want to switch over to that as you go along. There should be a number, or actually should just be a button that you press, and also a call-in number if you want to just call directly from your phone and not through the computer at all. Also, you'll notice in your control box a question tool. We will be taking questions today, so feel free to use that at any time. If you have questions, there will be time for questions and answers at the end, but feel free to submit questions throughout the program, and if there's anything applied to specific things that we're talking about, we'll try to pose those questions as they come in. And finally, just wanted to let everybody know you will be receiving a recording of this virtual job fair tomorrow about this time. So 24 hours from now, there'll be a link to access the recording. So don't worry about capturing everything. You will get a recording that will show all the slides we're going to see today, as well as have all the audio commentary that goes along with that. So you get that about this time tomorrow. So with that, we're going to get started. I'm pleased to introduce the Commissioner of the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, Commissioner Peter Lacey. Peter?
Thanks, Dave. I'm really excited by today's event and the opportunity to embrace technology and be able to reach as many of you as we're reaching today, to be able to share a little bit about the BMV. I've been the commissioner of the BMV since 2017 with Governor Holcomb, and we really have embraced his fifth pillar, which is that we want to provide great government service at a great value to taxpayers. When I think of the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, I really think of the fact that we are the front door to government. We are generally the very first place that somebody comes to when they need to do something with the state of Indiana, whether that's the 15-year-old who wants to get their driver's license for the first time, or the person moving from Illinois or from Michigan to Indiana. And so we feel that we have a lot of responsibility when it comes to how we deliver what we do, and are looking forward to having you join our team. I frequently tell our staff when we're together, we spend more time together during daylight hours than we do with our families at home. And so it really is about feeling like you're a part of a great organization and getting to work with great teams, which you'll get to hear more about a little bit later in this program. You know, our overall mission is to provide best-in-class driver and vehicle services in a timely and accurate manner while ensuring security and transparency. That's our overall mission. But we really boiled that down to four pillars of where do we try to spend our time and focus our time. And first, we want to invest in our employees. And that's what this job fair is about, because we want to show you what it means to work for the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and help you understand how we set you up for success. We are here to serve our customers. And so we want to engage our customers every chance we can. And you'll hear from the ladies today that we do that in the branches, we do it online, we have 24-hour kiosks, we find multiple ways for our customers to contact the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Ultimately, we can't do our job without computer systems. And so we want to provide sustainable systems so that you've got the tools at your fingertips to be able to help the customers that come to see us. And most importantly, one of the forward-looking things that we do is embrace product innovation. And many of you probably have an iPhone or an Android, and you're familiar with that wallet feature where you can put a credit card or a boarding pass or a movie ticket. Coming soon, we will end up being able to put your driver's license on your phone. And that'll be just another thing that the state of Indiana will offer to us. The last thing I want to talk about is I really want this to be a culture fit. between you and the BMV. And so we worked a couple of years ago around what is the BMV? What do we care about? What are the traits and values that the BMV believes are important? And hopefully many of these are reflected in your own personal beliefs. You know, we want to be proactive. If something needs to be fixed, we want to fix it. If somebody needs help, we want help. We want to be held accountable. We are the agency that holds the record of every driver in the state, and we want to make sure that we do that in a way that is secure. And we need to do that with integrity. I mean, when we're dealing with people's personal information, their home address, things like that, we need to make sure that we're doing it with integrity. And as all of you know, or maybe you've experienced, we've gotten really good about being efficient. I am always reminded of Governor Mitch Daniels when he ran for office saying, well, you go to the BMV with a sack lunch and a book and you hope you don't finish both. Well, if you've been to the BMV in the last year or two, our average experience time is 18 minutes. I don't think you can eat your lunch and read a book in the 18 minutes you're going to be in the BMV. And lastly, you saw on the other slide that we really want to stay innovative and try to find new things and new ideas. And this is one of them. We have never done a virtual job fair like this before. And so embracing technology and being able to reach as many of you as we're reaching today is exciting for me. I'm joined by 4 of my teammates in Lucy Langford, who is with our Human Resources Department, and then 3 branch managers, Rachel, Stephanie, and Caitlin, are here to help answer and talk about the BMV. And so with that, Lucy, I'm going to hand it over to you and please ask questions and learn more about the BMV.
Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. As Peter mentioned, I am Lucy Langford. I am an HR manager / recruiter here with the BMV, just joined in November. Just kick it off, we do have over 125 branches located all over the state of Indiana. Those are right here in the picture that you can see, divided into 9 regions. Stephanie, Caitlin, and Rachel are all branch managers within the state. Would you guys mind to share which branches that you are the manager for? I don't know. We couldn't hear Rachel. Can anybody else?
Rachel. I'm sorry. I'm Rachel.
No problem.
And I'm the manager of our Huntington branch.
Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I am currently at the Morocco Fowler branch, and I will be transitioning to Crown Point.
Okay. Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm the branch manager of the branch in Peru, Indiana.
All right. All right. Next slide, please.
All right, here we go. Benefits of working at the BMV.
Yeah, so we have a ton of benefits, both working at the state and the BMV specifically. I won't bore you by reading this bulleted list. You can access this on our job site, which I will point out to you later on in the presentation. Some notable benefits that I do want to point out: we do have paid vacation, personal and sick leave. We also all take advantage of 12 holidays each year, and on election years there are 14, so it's really nice just to have those extra days. We also offer 2 fully funded pensions and a deferred compensation plan, so looking after the retired you in the future. As well as, I really appreciate the work-life balance that I've had working at the state. A lot of branches are open Tuesday through Saturday. We do have some that are Monday through Friday, but you kind of get to have a little bit of a different weekend if that's something that you're interested in. And as well, we also offer free LinkedIn learning to all of our full-time employees.
So just to get the questions rolling, I wanted to throw out one here. What is the most exciting thing about working for the BMV, or maybe there's more than 1 or 2?
Stephanie, Caitlin, or Rachel, do you guys have something you could add there? What's most exciting in your role?
Well, I think I'm Stephanie, and I think the most exciting part of my role is to grow people, to start them at the beginning as like a CSR one, and then watch them grow into their future. Because this is a career that is based on, the sky's the limit
I
here.
think for me, it is serving the Hoosiers. Every customer comes in with a different need, and that's what drives me is the customers that I wait on and that I get to help every day.
Yep, I think they both hit, those spots are spot on. For me, it's the team environment, and like Commissioner Lacey said earlier, we spend more time together during daylight hours than we do our family, and that's really true. So for me, it's building relationships within my team so that we can serve the community the best that we can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thanks for that. And just a reminder to our audience, feel free to submit questions using the question tool. There's a few that came in, but I think they're a little bit more specific, so we'll wait till we get a little bit later in the program. I think now we should just jump into the jobs.
No problem.
I know there's, I think, 7 different job opportunities we're going to talk about, and if there are specific questions that come in during those, we'll put those out there. So we're going to start with, well,
So
here's the general slide. So, yep.
Yeah, so this is a general slide. We do have customer service representatives, both level 1 and 2, in intermittent, part-time, full-time, and floating, which are traveling positions that are usually among a specified region. We also have team leaders on our teams, as well as managers in training, assistant branch managers, and branch managers.
Let's get into a couple quick questions.
Oh, go ahead.
How do health benefits kick in?
I believe you're able to get health insurance right away. You have 2 weeks to sign up within your first 2 weeks, and then you'll make those elections for your retirement, your health insurance, life insurance, dental, all of the above, and then those are effective as soon as you start.
Okay, and what about minimum hours per week? What can you tell us about that?
So the majority of us work 37.5 hours per week. Caitlin, Rachel, and Stephanie, would you agree with that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And I will also say, the state is known, at least in my role, and I'm sure at the BMV as well, and unless the public is, with the operating hours, but we do have the ability to flex our work time sometimes in the event of needing to go to appointments and things like that. And our managers are able to work with you in that event if you need.
Okay, so let's get into some more details now. Looks like we're going to talk about customer service representative 1. So take it away.
So all Stephanie, Caitlin, and Rachel, they all started as customer service rep 1s. So I'd like to point to them to kind of start out and tell us about what you do in a role as a customer service rep 1. Stephanie?
Okay, I'll go first. Well, when I first started, basically you're going to learn, they're going to train you. So number 1, take that stress off of you right away. They're going to train you, and when you feel comfortable, you'll have someone that'll be your peer to watch you and help you, someone that'll that you can just go to, because some of these branches are bigger, and we have like maybe 20 associates. So it's nice to have one person that the new person can go to have their questions answered and have more of a secure environment to be able to get their what they need to get done in a day that they will work, so they don't throw you right out there. It's a gradual training to get on the line.
Do you know about how long the training usually lasts? Like in weeks, maybe?
Probably for life. You're trained, they always give you that ample time for training, but yeah, we have the year 1 training and success factors, and which is excellent. We also have a 2-week program that they go to learn how to be a CSR, what is required of you. Just get a little feet wet, so you know what you're getting into. Build that confidence that you need in a career to move forward. It helped me so much. I did the 2-week training, and then I had the 1 year to get my other work done. But as you work on the line too. So it's kind of like you're using what you're learning right as you're doing it. So it's really a good mixture.
Couple of quick questions have come in. One, where do I apply? But we're going to get to that later, so stay with us for that. One other question, are you able to get overtime?
Mm-mm. I mean, not past 40 hours.
Okay. And then I know it's on the slide, but somebody asked about skills background, so elaborate on that just a little bit before we move on.
Okay. I'll take that one. So for our positions, you do need a high school diploma or equivalent. So an HSE high school equivalency is sufficient. We do like for you to have some customer service experience, be a great communicator, both to your peers as well as the public. Very, very important in a customer service role. Be able to think on your feet, be a critical thinker, ability to troubleshoot. Sometimes you might have maybe a trickier transaction and have to think on your feet to figure out how to handle that transaction. The ability to process cash and credit transactions, so maybe some prior cashier experience would be helpful in this role. And then again, we do add in the ability to travel in the event that another branch may need some additional support each day, but that is just up to 20% of the time if necessary. We just throw that in there. Most positions don't require travel, but in the event that an emergency situation arises, we like to throw that in there.
Okay. A couple other things. Somebody asked about starting pay. I believe that's showing up in the upper right, so you can see that on the slide. Let's see here.
That is an annual amount. I do believe the customer service rep one starts at $15 now. Is that correct, Rachel, Caitlin, and Stephanie? Okay. So that breaks down to $15 an hour.
Somebody asked about what counties have openings. I don't know if you can address that or would want to get to that later.
We can get to that a little bit later. I will say that there are tons of opportunities kind of spread out throughout the state. So that may need to be like a one-off but I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay. And then somebody asked about sign-on bonuses. Anything in that area?
Not currently. We actually just raised our starting wages back in September. So that was kind of our way of trying to compete with our competitors that do have those sign-on bonuses.
Okay. Lots of questions coming in, but let's move on at this point, and we'll keep looking at questions. But I think our next position is Customer Service Representative 2. So tell us how that's different.
So the Customer Service Representative 2s are our drive examiners. So they work to examine drivers and help them to hopefully get their driver's license if they pass the test. I do know that Caitlin was a customer service rep too in the past. So Caitlin, would you like to share how that role works and how your role was?
Yes. So CSR2, there's two parts to being a CSR2. When you're a customer service rep 1, that's what you see when you come into the branch processing on the counter, whether they're processing paperwork, driver's licenses, things like that. But where the 2 comes from is you administer skills exams to anybody getting their license. This could be, kids getting their first license. It could be somebody that's been expired for a length of time. They have to retest, and it could be somebody new coming in from out of country that we have to test for a drive so they can get their license. So there's 2 levels to that, but that's the difference. When you're in the branch, you still act as a CSR1. You still contribute to working on the counter, helping with customer flow. And then in the event the skills exams are scheduled, you would take those out.
Okay. A couple things. Somebody asked, is traveling mandatory?
Yeah, generally our CSRs travel up to, can travel up to 25% of the time. You know, we're very team oriented. So if somebody is short-handed for a day, we might send, you know, a couple team members to another branch to help out. But we always try to send people to the closest to where they live or where their branch is. But yeah, we do travel and help out our region and regions as much as we can.
Okay. Let's see, I know we're going to get into the manager and training positions, but somebody asked, you have to start as a CSR 1 if you want to apply to be manager in training.
No.
Okay.
It just so
All
happens that these three ladies all started as a CSR 1, but you wouldn't have to enter that way, as far as I know.
Okay. All right. Anything else on customer service rep 2?
Stephanie, Rachel, and Caitlin, what do you guys look for when you're hiring a customer service rep 2, in addition to the regular requirements as a CSR 1?
Well, I look for that they need to be 21 years old, you know, to be a driver, instructor, and that they have, you know, that they have a good, I guess, a work ethic with young children, you know, younger kids or younger, you know, because you wouldn't want someone that wasn't, you know, that kind of oriented, you know, to be out there with the kids. You want them to put them at, I would look for someone that's really going, you know, as far as, you know, 15-year-olds and older people as well. Just someone that's really more, you know, put them at ease because you're just doing the driving test. That's what I look for. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple more questions before we move on. If you get sent to another location, does BMV help pay travel time if leaving from our location?
Yes. Yeah, as far as I know, travel time is usually built into schedules, and they do compensate you for your travel time. I know that that is something that you would work on with your manager if you were to be selected for a role, because it, you know, it may be dependent on a day for you to have that travel time built in.
Okay.
You also
And
get
somebody asked
for your gas as well, or mileage.
Mileage reimbursement.
This may have been covered on an earlier slide, but someone asked, when you say region, does that mean like your county? If you could quickly explain again how your regions work, and I know they cover numerous counties.
Yeah, so we have the state divided up into 9 regions. So there could be several counties in each region. I couldn't tell you exactly how many. I mean, there are 92 counties, so kind of, I guess, maybe 10 per region in a way, maybe, if it's actually equally balanced. So a region just covers a section of the state, and I guess it'd be up to about 10 counties there. Here in Indianapolis, I know our branches are kind of separated into a couple different regions based on where they fall in the city, but there are several counties within. Thinking about it in counties may not be the best way. You may want to just think about more so cities and towns for the locations of branches. Like I mentioned earlier, there are 129 locations, so that's even more than the amount of counties that we have. So just be mindful of that as well.
Okay, I'm not going to go back to it now, but there was a slide that showed your region and, you know, a breakdown with what counties are within each region. So that will be on the recording that folks will get tomorrow. But with that, why don't we move on to the next opportunity, and that is team leader. So tell us more about that.
So your team leaders are kind of your, I would consider them your first step to moving into more of a leadership or supervisory role within the BMV. You do the same kind of things as a CSR would do, but you also have that kind of supervisory piece. Caitlin, Rachel, and Stephanie, do you have anything you'd like to add about being a team leader, or if you guys were one in the past as well?
Team leaders are very much a supportive role for CSRs. Training, looking at documentation, helping with customer interactions, helping control branch flow, like if we need to go out to the lobby and talk to customers, if we're starting to get busy. They also will help send lunches, breaks. They will help with any technical issues. They're very much the go-between between CSRs and the branch manager. A lot of times they're running the floor. It is kind of an up and walking all day kind of job, being that support for the CSRs running the line.
Anything else you two would like to add on that?
Nope, Rachel explained it very well. She hit all the points.
And most branches have more than one team leader, if they have a team leader. You know, if they're big enough to have a team leader, they mostly have like 2 team leaders minimum. We did in Kokomo when I worked in that big branch.
So this question may not be specific just to this position, but the question was asked, do any of the positions have part-time hours?
Yeah. Yeah, so we, like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, we have what we call our intermittent positions, which are kind of seen as seasonal positions where you would be a full-time employee, but only for a certain period of time. We also have part-time, as I mentioned, the floating positions, and then our regular full-time positions. Rachel, I think you're going to add something there.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to note about the intermittent position is it is a very good step into the door. It is kind of a seasonal, you know, like Lucy said, and some branches, depending on your need, if you're in school or you have kids, you know, the intermittent, it is, you work 180 days in an 11-month period. So maybe you can just work Tuesdays and Saturdays. You know, we might be able to work that out with you. You know, it is a very flexible position. And it's something that a lot of people really like to be put in that intermittent position. So if you're looking for less hours and more flexibility, that's something that you might be interested in.
Okay. Looks like we've got 2 more positions to talk about, so let's move on. Next one, maybe it's 3 more actually. The next one is manager in training.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So the manager in training, those start at $35,568 and range to $37,206 per year for the annual salary. That range is based on the branch size. So as Stephanie was mentioning earlier, some of our branches are smaller and some of them are very large, depending on the area that they are in. So that is why there's a little bit of a differential in between those 2 starting salaries. These positions just are really a step into management. So managers in training work to become managers, the BMV. Do you guys have anything to add about managers in training?
Yeah. So managers in training a lot of times do involve that kind of floating position because we are going to enrich them the best. We are going to send them to the different size branches to work with different management staff and different teams. And I mean, anything that they're going to need to know as they transition, whether it be an assistant branch manager role or a branch manager role, is going to be covered with working basically with the whole region at some point. They're going to have some experience across the region, which just makes them very well-rounded individuals to move on to those next steps.
Somebody had a quick question, if you could confirm, are Hamilton, Marion, and Boone counties part of Region 6? I know we had that slide, but if somebody could answer that real quick.
Here, let me look at my Hamilton. Here, I'm pulling it up 1 second. I don't think so. I think they're actually more like Region 5. Yeah, I think Hamilton is in Region 5 from what I'm seeing. Hancock is in Region 7.
Okay. And somebody asked about Fort County. I assume that's up in 1 or 2?
Which county?
Porter.
It's in Region
Yes,
1.
that's in Region 1. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Northwest, yeah.
All right.
And as I kind of mentioned earlier about the central of the state, they kind of fall between the 4, 5, 6, and 7 regions. So they mentioned Hamilton, and it's in 5. Boone County looks like it's in 4. Hancock's in 7, and Hendricks is in 6. So they're kind of all central there in part of those regions.
Sure. Another quick question. I did change the slide, but on the intermittent schedule, can you work more than 7.5 hours a day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Our next to last position is assistant branch manager. So tell us more about that one.
All right, so again, your assistant branch manager, it does have the same starting range as that manager in training, and depending on the branch size, so 35,568 to 37,206. The assistant branch manager is kind of your next step to management in a branch. I do know that Caitlin, Stephanie, and Rachel were all also assistant branch managers in their path with the BMV. So I know it's kind of a common trend here, but Rachel, Caitlin, and Stephanie, do you want to speak about being an assistant branch manager and what that was in your role?
Well, for me, Stephanie, I love being a branch assistant manager. It was the most funnest time ever because you're kind of like the little hinge in the door, you know, because you get to really work with the CSRs and the CSR2s, but yet you're working with the management too, and it's just so exciting, and it has so many different facets to it that, like, I worked in a big branch as an ABM, and I absolutely loved it because you got to it's just the best role. And then I worked as an ABM in a smaller branch, but in those bigger branches, it is really exciting. It's fast moving, and every day is brand new with new excitement, you know. That's my experience as being an ABM. I loved it.
All right. Another quick question. Our benefits only.
I'm sorry, what?
Our benefits for full-time only.
So our intermittent positions do not offer benefits. I do know there's some benefits are offered to part-time employees, but full-time definitely get benefits as well. But intermittent does not offer benefits.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our final position we're going to talk about today, and that is branch manager.
All right, so so branch managers, again, the starting salary ranges from 37,206 to 48,000, depending on the branch size. So again, from that small to the super sized branch. And the branch manager is kind of your be all end all, your manager of the entire branch, overseeing your assistant manager, your team leaders, your CSR1s and CSR2s. So Caitlin, Rachel, and Stephanie, can you talk about your day in the life as a branch manager?
I guess for me, being a branch manager, it is obviously, you know, first and foremost, it is branch and branch flow, taking care of the customers, making sure that you have the staff. It is HR work, compliant and audit work, making sure that everybody is getting what they need to be. They get it done. All the employees are getting their stuff done. You know, we get testing throughout the year. You know, it's just a lot of delegation and follow-up. But I love it. I love being a branch manager. I love being part of this big team.
Okay, quick question here too before we move on or kind of wrap up with the positions. Somebody asked, what is the dress code?
Oh, good question. Stephanie, would you like to answer that one?
Okay, well, your dress code, we have wonderful, and I mean that, and so many different polos and all kinds of shirts that you can get. They will give you one right when you start, like maybe like I think it's a month. I just hired a new girl and she got hers in a month. And then your options are to buy the other ones, but they're very reasonable and they come in all different colors. But basically you can wear navy, khaki, is what you probably start out with, navy and khaki, because that's what you'll have in your wardrobe as a CSR and a CSR2. You can wear tennis shoes, you can wear sandals, you can't wear flip-flops because we are professionals, but you can wear, you know, nice tennis shoes and you can wear nice sandals as long as they have a back to them, you know. And I've never had any complaints on my girls. They like the variety, but they also love the new, because we're really updated. You know, we're really cutting edge here in the BMV. So we're going to have the nicest clothes and you can pick it out and you can wear it. And then you get to wear, you know, different colored pants. You can wear navies, you can wear gray, you can wear blacks, and then you can wear your khakis. But you can basically just wear that. And then when you come into the management side, assistant managers and managers, and I think the MIT, they can wear, we can wear dress clothes. Yeah, so we can really I mean, that's an upgrade, you know, for that management role. And I feel like that's really well, I really love that.
Don't forget jeans, Stephanie.
Well,
Jeans.
oh yeah, jeans on Fridays or Saturdays if your branch works on Fridays or Saturdays. But if the BMV is very family oriented, so we all get together and whatever goals that there are wanting in the as an agency. Sometimes those are jeans all year, which we're in now, jeans all year, because we met the goals that were set before us. So as an agency, we met those goals. So it's a really family oriented place, a real great place to be. If you're looking for a career, you need to come to the BMV. Yeah, it's career.
Okay. Before we move off this slide, I know it's covered somewhat on the slide, but somebody asked, what experience do you have to apply for branch manager? So if you could expand on that a little bit.
So I'll start out and then I'll have you guys add a little bit. So again, you're a minimum of a high school diploma or equivalency. They do want for you to have at least 4 years of supervisory experience in the past. Also be great for you to have customer service experience in the past as well, and be very motivated and willing to assist with training and development of other employees, and just essentially have a very overall team mindset, like she mentioned earlier, with everyone being a family and a team. That is very important here at the BMV, especially in a management position. As Rachel mentioned earlier, she has to deal with sometimes with some HR and compliance and auditing. So again, those critical thinking skills, being able to interpret policies, procedures, and any regulations that come up with being with a motor vehicle organization as well. And again, those communication skills go a very long way in this role. Anything you guys would like to add? No.
Well, I agree. I agree with you, Lucy. I would say, you know, definitely customer service and having good time management skills is important for this job as well.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
So we're going to get to how to apply here in just a second, but before, I mean, one more question I'll throw out. What is the hiring process like? Just give us a quick overview of that.
So I can take that one. So we do accept our applications on workforindiana.in.gov. So our applications immediately can be reviewed by our managers once you've submitted them. At that point, managers will review and decide who they'd like to interview. They'll reach out to you directly for an interview. Are you guys doing virtual or only in-person interviews right now?
Both.
Both? Great. Okay, so they may reach out to you for a virtual interview. They may want you to come in, depending on who you talk to. And then at that point, they will conduct their interviews, make their selection. If you were to be selected, you would be offered a contingent offer. And at that point, you would go through the background check process. Our positions do require fingerprinting, which is another part of the process to be hired here. And then also employment and education verifications. And then after that, and everything is successful, your background check is great, everything came back good in that pre-hire process, then we would give you a final offer. And then at that point, we would come up with a start date and you'd be hired.
Okay, well, let's move on now, and we do have more questions. I want to leave some time for that, but how to apply? Take us through that, and what are those steps involved in?
So I wanted to let everybody know, as I just mentioned, our website is workforindiana.in.gov. So that is where all the positions are listed. Those are the ones that are available now. I was made aware by our leadership earlier that there are more positions that are available that we would be willing to fill. So today's event, we're trying to figure out and gauge interest across the state as to where those positions might need to be based on our candidate interest. And we will be following up with you. Dave is going to provide us a list of everyone who has attended today and signed up for this event. And we'll follow up with you via email. And in that email, what I will do is I'll send you a link to a requisition that will be specific to this virtual job fair, in which we'll ask you to apply to that one so we can keep track of how we interacted with you, and then kind of track your process with applying to positions and all of that. So just be on the lookout for an email from us following the event with more instructions. As well, on the next slide, I think is my contact information. So if you do have any questions and you want to follow up in any way, you can reach out to me here. My phone number and my email are listed there for you. In the event that you have any questions or just want to follow up on your application, I'd be more than happy to speak with you.
Okay, well, we're to our question and answer portion. I did have a slide in here for 180 Skills, which is a program of the Department of Workforce Development. Although I think the sign-up period may have passed, but the utilization period is still in effect. So if anybody out there has signed up to utilize, it's a set of online skills training courses. I think there's almost 200 courses out there available. If anybody has signed up for them in the past and they were free, make sure you use them up by, I think it's sometime this summer is the utilization period for that. With that, we're going to move on to more Q&A. So let me bear with me as I scroll through some other questions that have come in. I'm going to scroll back up a little bit because we didn't get to all of them. And hopefully I won't repeat any. Let's see here. Sorry, there's a lot to scroll, so bear with me.
No problem.
I know I can't find it specifically, but somebody I know had asked about the vaccine. Are vaccines required?
We actually do not require vaccinations at this time. There's no vaccine mandate for our employees.
Okay. Here's one. How has the culture accepted qualifications of managers outside the ranks and file through BMV ranks?
Stephanie, Caitlin, and Rachel? I think they're meaning that somebody would be external but have a management background, and then how has that kind of transpired into being selected for a management role? with the BMV, if I
Well,
understand.
I'm on the resource team, and we work a lot with, I've worked a lot with Rachel and Caitlin with new managers. So if you're qualified, you want the career, yeah, I mean, they do quite well.
Mhm.
Yeah, you would apply and then, interview, and once you're hired, you would have a mentor within your region that you would work with at their branch, and then they could also travel with you to your branch to that enrichment. And then, like Stephanie said, there's other management resources outside of your region that would also benefit and enrich that position.
Okay, just wanted to follow up the 180 skills program that I talked about. That was extended to the end of June. So if anybody is interested in that, it is free online training that's available to residents of the state of Indiana all across the state. So feel free to check out 180 skills. Still have about 5 months or so to go on that one. Let's see here. Yeah, there was one I just saw I was going to ask, and now I lost it. Hold on. Oh, does the BMV offer tuition reimbursement?
Yeah, I believe tuition reimbursement is one of the policies here at the BMV.
Okay. Somebody asked if, I don't think I have this, but they said, could you link the training in the chat, please? So I don't know if they were talking about skills or
Probably 180 skills,
okay.
I'm assuming.
It should just be 180skills.com. Hold on a second. That slide again.
Here, I'll type it out if I can.
Somebody doesn't mind doing that. My control box is being a little bit temperamental at the moment. So one of you might be able to put that in there a little bit easier than me, but a couple more questions. Whoops. Somebody asked, do we still apply at the website or wait to hear from Lucy?
I would still apply to positions if you're interested on things that are posted already. But I would also say whenever we do send out this link to the special requisition for those who attended today to apply there as well, we'll have a text box in there for you to fill in about which area of the state you would be interested in or specific branch locations, or, and you would have the ability in that comment box to add in, I applied to this position at this branch, and then, we can also correspond with those managers to let them know that we've had you at our job fair and you're interested in positions.
Somebody wanted me to go back to Lucy's contact info slide, so I have done that. So there it is again. But again, this will all be in the recording that you will receive tomorrow. Let me just see. We'll wrap up here shortly, but I want to make sure we got to the questions. If there's any we missed, our presenters will have access to those and can respond offline. But let me scroll through here again. Yeah, somebody asked, as far as fingerprinting, what will disqualify a candidate?
Anything that is considered a nexus to the position. That's a fancy word for that would affect your job in any way. Excuse me. So any sort of like maybe offense that would have to do with fraud or forgery or theft, things like that. Again, it's case by case basis. I wouldn't let something like that deter you from applying. They do look at each case individually, and we don't do any sort of background checks prior to you receiving an offer. So that would be in the stage where you've had an offer and you've had at least corresponded with the manager and interviewed and all of that. So I wouldn't let that deter you, but just thinking of how it would be applicable to the role. So
anything more to add? Sorry.
No. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a few other specific questions about openings in counties or regions, but I think I will leave those for follow-ups after this. You'll be pleased to know there were a few, somebody said they had loved working for the state. There was a few real positive comments. Somebody said they're definitely interested and want to know if they can start on Tuesday. So it seems like you're getting some good interest there. So hopefully continue to get a good response back from the folks that are on with us today. Let me just, one more quick check. Okay, somebody, posted 180skills.com. There's the link there. Let's see. If you're hired at a branch location, do you have the option to transfer to a different branch later? I can't remember if we addressed that or not, but please go ahead.
Yes, you definitely can. Actually, when I was looking into Rachel, Caitlin's, and Stephanie's backgrounds, Caitlin actually started out at Warsaw, and now she's with Morocco Fowler branch. So I do know that you can move around a ton. It's also consistent with the way the state works as well, from agency to agency, but within the BMV, you can definitely move from branch to branch. And even region to region, if you decided to move from the north to the south or east to the west, whatever.
Yeah, if I can just add, that's what I was going to say. You know, if anybody's familiar with where Warsaw is compared to Morocco Fowler, they're not close at all. But we actually moved, and if I had worked for the BMV, you know, I don't know what my job would have entailed when we did move. So it was great because there was an opening nearby, and it just worked out great. And now I got to where I am now.
That's great.
Okay, a few more comments from people that want to start today or tomorrow, so that's good news.
Send me an email.
Yeah, I guess one final question, perhaps. I don't know, I can't remember if we addressed this, but they asked, do you drug test?
I'm not sure. I don't think that it's a requirement for pre-employment, is it?
No.
I don't think so. I believe it is the rest of the state policy. Depending on the position, the state only does drug testing for certain positions. I don't believe that the BMV requires it for pre-employment, but we do operate on reasonable suspicion. So that is still part of our policy. So if it's reasonable suspicion, then you may expect a drug test.
Okay, and we'll close with this. Well, real quick, is there high turnover? Can somebody answer that quickly?
No.
I would have to look at the numbers. As far as I know, no. But that could also be a one-off conversation if they'd like to discuss that with me.
Okay. And then, okay, we'll end with this one. So, and I think it was addressed, but so even though we're on here, should we still apply online? I know it was just answered. But apparently they missed it. So I assume the answer is yes.
Definitely still apply online. And then again, whenever we follow up via email, definitely apply to the link that we send so that we can keep track of you and be able to follow up in the future. It'll just make it easier on our end to know who you are and what you've applied to and where you're interested in working. Just makes it a lot easier on our end.
Okay. Well, any other questions that have come in, they can be addressed offline, and I'm sure our team of presenters will be looking at those. But I did want to go around the horn one more time. First of all, I don't believe he's with us at this point, but again, thank Commissioner Peter Lacey for joining us at the beginning of this program for his introduction about the BMV and all the great things they do for the citizens of Indiana. But with that, let's go around the horn one more time for some closing thoughts or final comments. And I'll just go in my order. I'll start with Rachel McCammon. Rachel?
I just want to say, you know, I've been with the Bureau for, it was just 10 years in September. And I love working here because of the teamwork and because of the support. You know, I've always had really great bosses. Upper management is very supportive. You know, employees are important, just like, you know, our customers. And that's why I like working here. It's very much a support and team effort. And it's just an enjoyable place to work. You know, I'm always learning something.
Well, great. Thanks for that. And how about Stephanie Carmichael? Stephanie, your closing thoughts.
Well, I just want to say, if you decide you'd like to come to work at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, you will not be disappointed. It is such a great place to work. I love my job. I love my girls and my guys that work for me. I love my customers, and it's just a very family, team-oriented place, and you can just excel to whatever you want to go. Wherever you want to go, you can go with this, our department, our agency. It is all for one.
Great, thanks for that. Now let's move next back to Caitlin Stamberger. Caitlin, your final thoughts.
You guys took the first step by being here today, so that's great. Like everybody said, the opportunities are endless. I've been here for almost 7 years, and after I've been here for some time, I don't know what else I'd rather do. I love my job, and I love the people I work with, and it's a career. You can build it however you want. You can take it as far as you want. It's your guys' opportunity, and you can make the most of it that you want to.
Okay, thanks for that. And finally, let's go back to Lucy Langford. Lucy, your final thoughts.
So thank you all for being here today. I definitely appreciate your interest in the BMV. Please follow up with me if you have any questions about benefits or anything like that. I can definitely point you in the right direction if I don't know the answer now. And in that event, please apply to our positions if you're interested, and reach out if you have any questions.
Well, great. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up for today. Thank you for everyone who joined us. Again, a reminder, the recording will be out around this time tomorrow. Feel free to go back and review, and certainly contact the folks who presented today. And if you have any questions and any other unanswered questions, they will be receiving. So thanks again. I hope everybody has a great afternoon. Thanks again for joining us, and good luck with your job search.
Thank you.